Welcome, welcome, welcome. Usually on this channel we talk a lot of sports, obviously. A little basketball, a little NBA, a little boxing as well. We talk a lot of sports, but we got to talk about this. We got to chime in, just like everybody else is chiming in on the Will Smith, Chris Rock situation. The smack heard around the world. We all know what transpired there. We all know what happened there. We all know that Will Smith felt disrespected, didn't like what Chris Rock was saying, didn't like what Chris Rock was talking, and ultimately Will Smith went up and smacked Chris Rock in the face. Here's all the things. Let's kind of break this down. Let's look at this thing, right? Let's start breaking this thing down. You look at it from this standpoint. First and foremost, Will Smith knew he knew if he walked up there and smacked Chris Rock couldn't do much. Right? Will Smith knew that this was his opportunity if he wanted to smack Chris Rock, there is nothing Chris Rock could have did because Chris Rock is not the biggest of guys. Chris Rock is 150 pounds soaking wet. And that's on a good day. Right? So Will Smith knew that he could go up and smack Chris Rock and there's nothing Chris Rock could have done. And so Will Smith, Chris Rock said a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith, Will's wife, talked about her hair, right? So it says she could play G.I. Jane and all that other stuff. And ultimately, Will Smith was like, you know what? I had enough. Let me go up there and let me handle this. First and foremost, think about it from this standpoint. All men know, there's memes out here. And they said if this big guy were to touch your wife inappropriately, what would you do? Most people wouldn't do anything because of the size of the guy. Now, if we look at Chris Rock, Will Smith knows that he can take Chris Rock. Will Smith knows if he goes up and smacks Chris Rock, there's not much Chris Rock could do. Will Smith knows that. And that's what he did. He went up there and smacked Chris Rock because he knew Chris Rock couldn't do much to defend himself. He knew Chris Rock couldn't do much in terms of fighting him. Chris Rock can't beat up a Will Smith. But what if Chris Rock was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? Would that be a different situation? Would he go up there and smack him? Probably not. If that was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Will Smith is not going up there and smacking him. If that was Mike Tyson, Will Smith is not going up there and smacking him. So he knew that he could go up there and smack Chris Rock and get away with it. So that's first and foremost. He knew his audience, pretty much. He knew the guy who was up there. He knew he could take him. And that's most men. They're not going to go after somebody they don't think they can take. So Will Smith knew he could take Chris Rock, and he did it. He took him. He smacked him. And so ultimately, and here's also the thing. This is Will Smith's greatest moment as an actor, right? He won an Oscar last night. So this was one of his greatest moments as an actor, and he kind of tarnished it by going up there and smacking Chris Rock, trying to be maybe a tough guy. Dare I say a tough guy in that particular spot. Here's also the thing. You got a lot of people on social media now, being Tony Tough Guys, Tommy Tough Guys, all these tough guys typing, I would have did this, that, and the third. I would have defended my lady. I would have went up there and handled my business. There's no way I would have let someone talk about my wife just like the way the way Chris Rock talked about Will Smith's wife. No way I would have let that happen. People are up there talking that talk and saying all those things. And maybe they would have took Chris Rock because it's just Chris Rock. Right? Chris Rock, again, a 50-year-old man and 150 pounds soaking wet. And so that's a guy that you easily can take if you had to take him. That's a guy that you can go off and show your wife, look, I'm tough. I'm defending your honor. Right? That's the type of situation that's the type of situation where someone would come in and be like, you know what? You did a good job, man. You defended your wife. And maybe your wife will be happy as well. Like, whoa, you did a good job. You defended my honor. You supported me, right? So maybe that was the situation Will Smith was in. Maybe not. Who knows, right? Who knows? People are already capitalizing off this incident. Yeah, they are. People are capitalizing off this incident. There are people out here trying to get a come up. And you could argue maybe this whole thing was staged, right? Chris Rock is about to go on a comedy tour. Maybe this is good for business for Chris Rock. This most definitely is good for business for Chris Rock because I think people are going to want to hear from him. So this is good for business in terms of Chris Rock and his business and what he does. This might be good for ticket sales. Maybe ticket sales were lagging for his comedy show, and he's like, hey, Will, come on up, man. Let's do this. Let's pull this bit off. You got to remember, these guys are actors. They are actors. They are trained actors. So they could pull something like that off. I'm not saying that's what transpired here, but I'm saying these guys are trained actors, and actors act. That's what actors do. They act, and they sound convincing, and they make themselves look convincing. That's what actors do. And so we look at this, and the smack heard around the world. This was the smack heard around the world. Everybody's talking about this thing, man. Everyone is talking about the smack heard around the world, right? That is the smack heard around the world. I mean, people are talking about it, right? People are talking about it and talking about it and talking about it, right? It just, they can't get enough of it, right? Just I called it the West Philly special, right? I called it the West Philly special. And so you look at the West Philly special. That's the West Philly special. Will Smith going up there and smacking Chris Rock, right? Smacking the taste out of his mouth, if you will. And so here's also the thing, and we got to look at it bigger. We got to look at this larger. We got to look larger. Hypothetically speaking, and again, this was one of Will Smith's greatest night as an actor. Maybe one of his greatest night as a human being, because he won an Oscar. And how many black people have won Oscars? I mean, so, this is a big night for him. But hypothetically speaking, Will Smith goes and does that. And hypothetically speaking, he smacks Chris Rock. Chris Rock falls, hits his head, and God forbid something bad happens. That is something that could definitely be, you're talking about a great moment for Will Smith turned into a bad moment. Because Will Smith at that point, you're talking about him leaving a handcuff if Chris Rock was seriously hurt. But fortunately for him, Chris Rock ate it. And let's give credit to Chris Rock in that chin. Chris Rock has a good chin, a solid chin, a granite chin. Chris Rock ate that. He ate it. He kept going. He stumbled a little bit, but most people would stumble a little bit after getting smacked. He stumbled a little bit, but he got it done. He said what he needed to say, and he made it happen. But again, and look, this is comedy, man. It's a joke. And they all say it's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt, but it is a joke at the end of the day. And Chris Rock obviously wasn't trying to hurt Jada Pinkett Smith. Wasn't trying to hurt her. We know she had the situation with alopecia, and she had to ultimately shave her head and things like that. It looks great on her, by the way. But she had the situation with alopecia. She had to shave the head and things of that nature. So it is what it is. But at the end of the day, it was a great moment for Will Smith in terms of him winning an Oscar, but he tarnished his legacy to a degree. Because what are we going to remember from Sunday night? Are we going to remember Will Smith winning an Oscar for his role playing the father of Venus and Serena Williams? Are we going to remember that? Is that what we're going to remember? Or are we going to remember Will Smith smacking Chris Rock? We're clearly going to remember Will Smith smacking Chris Rock. That is what we're going to remember till the end of time. It was a viral moment. It definitely was a viral moment. It definitely was a moment that we will remember for a long period of time. It definitely was. I mean, I don't watch the Oscars. I don't care about that stuff. I don't watch it. But, I mean, and the ratings for the Oscars actually have been down over the years. The ratings have been down. So, most people aren't really watching the Oscars the way they used to watch the Oscars. So it really wasn't that big of a deal. Now, once this moment happened, obviously social media blew up. Twitter blew up. Facebook blew up. Instagram blew up. They all blew up. It became a trending topic, and it's still a trending topic today. People are still talking about it. But again, and at this point, Chris Rock has declined to press charges. Maybe that could change over time, but he has declined to press charges. He's going to let this go at this point. But look, you can't, as a grown man, and again, a lot of Tommy tough guys out here. I did that for my wife. That's my wife. Ain't nobody talking about my wife like that. You can't talk about my wife like that. Let me talk about my wife like that. You got a lot of that going on right now. But at the end of the day, look, hypothetically speaking, if that situation, if Will Smith would have hit Chris Rock, that was a smack, But what if it was a closed fist? What if he got so angry and hit him with a closed fist? And if you hit, Chris Rock is 57 years old. So if you hit a 57-year-old man with a closed fist, and that 57-year-old man loses his balance, and that 57-year-old man hits his head on a floor that doesn't give, well, we could talk about a serious issue, serious problem, serious situation. Now we're talking something serious. Now we're talking about Will Smith doing time because Chris Rock hit his head and ultimately did some permanent damage because of that. So now we're talking about some serious stuff at this point. We can all say, well, it's just an innocent, harmless smack to a degree. And it turned out to be that to a degree. Obviously, I think his face probably stung a little bit, but he ate it. He ate it. Like a true professional, he ate it and he kept on going. He ate it and he kept on speaking. Stumbled a little bit, but he kept on speaking. So that's to his credit. That is to the credit of Chris Rock and also him not responding. I mean, maybe Chris Rock was like, I can't take Will Smith, so I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to try to hit him back. I'm not going to try to push him. I'm not going to try to do anything because I know I can't take this dude, and this dude is heated. He can beat me down. But Chris Rock, at the end of the day, was the ultimate professional because Chris Rock pretty much turned the other cheek, if you will. So he was the professional that night. He was the guy that said, you know what? I ain't going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to just walk off of this. I'm going to just step off. I'm not going to do nothing here. There's nothing I can do, really, but I'm not going to do anything. He got that, right? He got it. He got that. Again, what is Chris Rock going to do? Tickle him? Yeah, that's a good point. What is he going to do? Maybe he could tackle him, right? Maybe he could tell another joke. Maybe he can kick him. I don't know. I mean, he could have did something, but he did the right thing. He did the right thing. He moved on. He moved forward. And he you know what? In a lot of ways, he treated it like a 57-year-old man should treat it and moved on, right? Now, again, you got to remember this. If it was any other dude, obviously Will Smith ain't doing that. If it's any other dude, Will Smith ain't doing that. He's not going up and smacking any other dude. He's not. He went up and smacked Chris Rock. I know Will Smith's in his 50s as well, but again, he seems to be the bigger of the two guys. You would think if those two gotten, arm wrestled, you would think Will Smith would win the arm wrestle. So, again, obviously, Will Smith knew what he was doing. He knew who his target audience was. He knew that he could take Chris Rock, just like most dudes do when they see a weaker vessel. When people go out and pick on people, they don't go after the dude they feel is the strongest. They go after the dude they feel is the weakest. And clearly, they felt Chris Rock was the weakest of the guys out there. And clearly, Will Smith knew that Chris Rock was the perfect guy for what he wanted to do. Will Smith knew that. And he capitalized. He took advantage and he did what he had to do according to him. And you look at it initially, Will Smith was laughing. And then he maybe looked over at his wife. Maybe his wife said, "Get him, Will. Sick him." Right? Maybe that's what his wife said. And ultimately, Will went up and said, "You know what? I can't have this going. I can't have him talking about my wife like that. This is Chris Rock. I can get away. I can smack this dude and get away with it. And then my wife is going to love me. My wife is going to be happy, right? Our entanglements are going to be untangled and all that good stuff, right? Maybe that's what he was thinking. Who knows? But, I mean, at the end of the day, he tarnished himself a little bit. He tarnished his night. He messed up his night a little bit. I know he was talking about in his acceptance speech, his mama and her friends were crocheting, doing crochet club and all that other good stuff. His mom was probably a little embarrassed by what she saw tonight. A little embarrassed. And again, look, it happens. You're human. It happens. But, if he was 25, I can give him that. I can give him that it happened stuff. That's Will Smith's 50-plus-year-old man. So I think Will Smith's like 51 or something like that. So you can't at a 50, you can't be that dude, 53-year-old man. You can't be looks amazing for 53, by the way. But you can't be a 53-year-old man going around smacking dudes. You can't, nobody should be laying hands on anybody. You're right. You shouldn't be smacking nobody. Grown men, grown people, grown women, grown men, grown people shouldn't be hitting other grown people. You shouldn't be hitting people. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what he said. Now, if his life was, if Chris Rock, obviously struck him, or, if Chris Rock got physical with him, I get it. I understand. That makes sense. It would make sense for Will Smith to go back at Chris Rock. But that's not what transpired here. They always say sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me, or something like that, right? But ultimately, it was just a little name. And I know he said it to his wife, and I know his wife is, had an issue with alopecia and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, it's all about intent. And intent, we got to look at intent. Did Chris Rock mean to hurt Jada Pinkett Smith? No. It's just like if you were at a comedy show and you sat in the front row of a comedy show, guess what's going to happen? There's a good chance the comedian might make a little fun of you. There's a good chance the comedian might say a joke about you. That's a good chance it's going to happen. So what do? You go up and smack the comedian? You go up and choke the comedian? Go after the comedian? I mean, that's what happens. Chris Rock is a guy who tells jokes. And, obviously he's going to tell jokes and say things about people in the crowd. Some of those jokes you're going to like. Some of those jokes you won't like. But it's a joke. And I think at some point in life, we got to lighten up. Now, we got to lighten up. We got to lighten up. We can't take ourselves so seriously. We got to lighten up. We got to be able to accept the joke. If somebody says a joke about us, we got to be able to accept it. Move forward. It's a joke. And I don't think, obviously Will Smith may have had some other things going on. We all know the situation with him and his wife, the entanglements. We all saw him on Red Table Talk, and how he looked, how his face looked. The dude didn't look like he was happy. And you got to understand also this. The pressures of celebrity. Those dudes get poked and prodded day in and day out, criticized, chastised, everything. Everything. And they, most of the time they eat it. And, Will Smith has eaten a lot over these years when it comes to the whole situation with Jada Pinkett Smith and the entanglement. He's ate a lot. And now, he didn't want to eat it no more. He got tired of the jokes. He didn't want to eat it no more. And he said, you know what? This is my chance. This is Chris Rock. This is a 57-year-old man. This is a man who's skinny as I don't know what. This is a man I can beat up. This is a man I can take. This is a man, if he fought me back, I would have no problems putting an end to him. And so he knew it. He found his audience, and he went after him. And he did what he felt like he needed to do on that particular day. And again, most people say, oh, well, he defended his wife. Like, there's better ways to defend your wife. There's other ways to defend your wife. Right? Because, and like I said, in reality, if you're a regular dude and you do something like that, you could theoretically take money out of your home because you might need a lawyer. You might have to lawyer up because somebody might sue you. And again, criminal charges in theory. Will Smith, it's not like he smacked him in a back alley or something. He smacked him on national TV. He smacked him in front of millions upon millions all over the world. He smacked him on national TV. So everybody saw it. Everyone saw the smack heard around the world because it went around the world. Everyone saw it. So there's no deniability. You can't deny anything here. You walked up and you smacked the dude on national TV. Right in the face. So no one you can't deny anything. There's cameras. And everyone saw it. Everyone saw it. Now, maybe it was just, a little check smack. And, maybe you didn't really want to punch him. Just a little smack to tell him, like, yo, you know what it is. Maybe it's just one of those deals. You know what it is. Fall back. Maybe it's just one of those deals. But obviously, again, you don't do this to anybody that you don't think you can take. You don't. You don't do this to anybody you don't think you can take. So he knew he could beat Chris Rock up. He knew it. And that's the only reason he went up there and smacked him in the face. Only reason. Only reason. Anybody else, he ain't doing that. Anybody that's formidable, he ain't doing that. Anybody bigger, stronger, faster, he ain't doing that. Younger, he ain't doing that. Will Smith ain't doing that. So, he apologized to the, the Academy Award and everybody. He apologized to everybody. But at the end of the day, there was no apology for Chris Rock. And, Chris Rock, whether you like the joke, hate the joke, he deserves an apology. You can't be going around hitting grown people. Grown people can't hit grown people. A grown man can't go around hitting other grown men. He can't do it. It's not acceptable. And here's also the thing. It's a kind of larger situation. These guys are role models. And whether you want to be a role model or you don't want to be a role model, anytime you're in the limelight, you're a role model to a degree. Hate it or love it. It comes with the territory. These guys are role models. Will Smith is a role model. And, it could be a teenager seeing this and say, you know what? Oh, somebody disrespects, says a joke about my girl. This is how you do it. You go up and smack a dude. That's how you do it. That's how you handle it. This is how you handle your business. When someone says something ridiculous or someone says something disrespectful to you, this is how you handle it. You handle it by going up there and you smack them in the face. You lay hands on them. You put hands on them. If somebody does this, this is how you handle it. So there could be a kid out there, kids, teenagers, seeing this and saying, well, this is how Will Smith handles it. This is the guy who won Oscars. This is the guy, I believe he won Grammys, as the Fresh Prince of, when he was a rapper. So this is how you handle it. You go up there, you smack them. If somebody disrespects you, you smack them. If somebody says something about you, you put hands on them. That's what you do because that's what I saw Will Smith do. It's not fair. It's not fair to Will Smith, but at the end of the day, you are on that pedestal, so you are going to be judged in a certain way. It's just reality, man. You're going to be judged in a way that maybe you don't want to be judged, but it comes with the territory. It comes with celebrity. You can't hide, right? You can't hide as much as you want to hide. You can't just go away as much as you want to go away. People are always going to be looking at what you do, what you say, how you act. And in life, the reality is in life you are defined not necessarily by how you act, but by your reaction. And Chris Rock, his reaction was a professional reaction. His reaction was, you know what? He smacked me. Will Smith just smacked me, but I got a show to do. The show must go on. And Chris Rock, the ultimate professional, the consummate professional, he went on. He kept moving, he kept pushing, he kept doing it, he kept going. He said, you know what? He smacked me. And I think he was just shocked. I don't think he expected him to do that. Maybe he did if it was staged, who knows? But I don't think he expected him to do that. I don't think he expected him to go up there and smack him in the face. I don't think he expected him to go up there and smack the taste out of his mouth. I don't think he expected to do that. I don't even think he expected that to happen. But it happened because he was laughing. He was laughing and saw Will Smith walking up there. He was laughing. And, the taste, we saw the taste go out of Chris Rock's mouth. And, we saw Will go back to his seat. We saw him yelling, don't F with my wife. Leave my wife's name out of your effing mouth and all this other stuff. And, Chris Rock, Will Smith, smacked the ish out of me, right? And all that other stuff. Like Chris Rock, handled it pretty much like a professional. And he kept moving. And he kept on going. And he had no issue. And he kept talking. He stumbled a little bit, but you would stumble too if somebody just smacked the taste out of your mouth. You would stumble too. He did stumble, but he got through it. Again, 57-year-old man. Again, you're not, he's not a young man. This is not a young man. You say Chris Rock's 57 years old, it's shocking. I mean, it's surprising to a degree. Maybe because, I kind of grew up with Chris Rock and but at the same time, I didn't grow up with him personally, but I just grew up with his comedy and everything. So it's kind of weird to think of him as 57 years old, but he's 57 years old. And again, I don't want to, belabor the point, but we can't just dismiss that, You can't lay hands on a 57-year-old man. I know Will Smith's 53 himself, but again, you lay hands on a man at that age, you don't know what could happen. You really don't know what could happen. You lay hands on a man that age. You don't know what could happen. We don't know. You think Chris Rock is in tip-top shape and and maybe in decent health, but you don't know. You don't know. And Will Smith played Ali. You know what I mean? Will Smith played Ali. I know it was many moons ago, but he played Ali. So the Will Smith is not no slouch. But again, he wasn't having it. He wasn't having it. He was like, yo, I'm tired of it. Somebody's got to handle. I got to handle this. I'm not going to let my wife be disrespected no more. I got to handle this. I'm tired of people talking about me. I got to handle this. I got to do what I got to do in this particular spot, in this particular situation. I'm tired, man. I got to do it. Now, who knows what could happen? We know it's Hollywood. And we know sometimes these people just go off some places. Sometimes they go to rehab and maybe they don't necessarily belong in rehab, but they just go there, right? Or at least that's what their people say they're there. And maybe that's what they're doing. Who knows? Will Smith is going to do in the next couple of weeks. You might see a statement in the next few weeks. I decided to take a step back, relax, go someplace, get some counseling for my anger. Or who knows? I got a lot going on, yada, yada, yada. His behavior last night, if it wasn't staged, obviously was a little erratic. That's erratic behavior. It's not normal, natural behavior at age 53 to be walking up on a grown man and smacking another grown man for a joke. That's not normal behavior. That's the type of behavior that gets you, time in a penitentiary. That's the type of behavior that's going to get you off the streets. So that's not normal, natural behavior. It's erratic behavior, right? That's not the typical behavior you see out of a man or a person who is at that age. It's not. So the reality is Will Smith has to be better. He has to be better. And again, do I think he regret what he did? Sure. There was in tears afterwards, reportedly. Denzel Washington walked up and talked to him. Tyler Perry tried to diffuse the situation as well, walking and talking to him. So, he obviously to a degree may have regretted. Maybe he didn't. Maybe I had to get this off. I don't regret this. I had to get this off. I had to do what I had to do on that particular moment, in that particular time, because I felt disrespected. I had to get this off. And that's maybe what Will Smith felt. He had to get it off, and he got it off. He wasn't going to be disrespected no longer. He wasn't going to let Chris Rock get away with what Chris Rock did. He wasn't going to let him get away with it. Nah, he's not getting away with this. But again, it's just not appropriate. It's just not what you do at that age. It's just not how you conduct yourself at that age. It's just not what you do. And Will Smith, he knows better. And again, he had an amazing acceptance speech. His acceptance speech was amazing, by the way. Very good speech. Give him a lot of credit for that speech. It was a great speech. But it's tarnished because people don't remember that. People are not going to remember that. People forget about that. It's sad, but in life, people don't remember they remember the bad moments. They always remember the good moments. They always remember those bad moments, right? And we can look at Will Smith and say, you know what, he's a very talented actor. Obviously, dude's talented actor. He's a talented dude. Whether it's the music, as the Fresh Prince, whether it's him acting. He's a talented guy. Will Smith is a talented, charismatic guy. He's got a lot of ability. And so, but, there's a lot of people with a lot of ability, a lot of things that they can do. But what takes away from it is how you conduct yourself, your integrity, how you conduct yourselves. And he didn't conduct himself in a way that was good. He didn't conduct himself in a way that was positive. He didn't. You might be right. I think it was fake and to pull viewers for future Oscars and for clout. To your point, the ratings for the Oscars have been down over the years. The ratings haven't been good for the Oscars. People aren't watching like they used to. So maybe this was a publicity stunt. For the Oscars, everybody was involved. Everybody's culpable. Like I said, Chris Rock is going on tour he's going on tour. So this is great. We all know, like in certain instances, we look at in the music world, you got rappers who about to drop an album, and somehow they get arrested, or somehow they're shooting somebody, or somehow somebody gets shot, something related to them that puts them in the limelight. And again, people are going to want to go out and see what this is all about. People are going to go out and see Chris Rock and have Chris Rock talk about what just transpired here. People are going to want that. People are going to do that. They're going to be like, oh, Chris, what happened? And they're going to hope that Chris Rock addresses the whole situation with Will Smith. So this is good for Chris Rock's business. He ain't get hurt. He got smacked. He didn't get hurt, right? His face might have stung a little bit, but he didn't get hurt. He didn't get hurt. And so he's good. He's good. And now he goes on tour, and, maybe there's some people like, I want to go see Chris Rock. I want to hear if he says anything about this whole situation. I want to see if he addresses this situation. I want to go out there and see, right? There could be a lot of people who's going to be doing that now because of what transpired on Sunday. There's a lot of people now who might be excited to go see Chris Rock because of what happened on Sunday night. It's pretty much that simple. It's a big story, and I think people care about it. Right? And I mean, look, maybe it was staged. Maybe it was staged. If you look at the punch, he kind of slows down and taps him. Yeah, I mean, he didn't give it all. He didn't give him his all. That wasn't a full, that wasn't a full follow through. He didn't give a full follow through with that smack. So yeah, maybe it's just to check him, yo, you know what it is. Don't do this again. Don't talk about my wife. But maybe to your point, maybe this was all publicity stuff. Maybe the Oscars were in it. Maybe everybody was involved. ABC. Who knows? But, I mean, the reality is, and also going back to my point initially, these are actors. These are paid, trained, professional actors. These are actors. And actors act, and actors know how to do certain things. Actors know how to look mad when they're not. Actors know how to act crazy when they're not. Actors know how to be sad when they're not. That's acting. They know how to act. And so this is acting. And maybe it is acting. I don't know. But these are actors. And these guys know how to act. They know how to do things. I mean, what? Will Smith won an Oscar. This is an Oscar award-winning actor. So in theory, we know what this man can do in terms of his acting ability. That's just, who knows? I don't know. I don't know if it's real, fake, or what have you. But I know it's fun. I know it's an interesting thing, right? But it did bring some attention to the Oscars. It did. It brought a lot of attention to the Oscars. It brought a lot of people to the Oscars that wouldn't be bothered with the Oscars. It brought a lot. I'm sure after that happened, and I don't know the ratings at this point, but I wonder what kind of ratings jump they got. After the smack, I'm sure everybody and their mamas started turning on ABC all around the country. Oh, shoot. What? You heard Will? I mean, it was all people, everybody on social media we're talking about it. You heard what happened to Will Smith? Will Smith smacked Chris Rock. Oh my, let's turn to ABC. We turned on ABC. Let's turn this on. Let's see what's going on here. So I'm sure a lot of people turned it on once they saw what happened. Once they heard about what happened, I should say. And I'm sure a lot of people watched the smack heard around the world, right? A lot of people just kept going on and tuning in because yo, wow, this is crazy. Will Smith just smacked Chris Rock. What? He did what? Yo, Will Smith smacked Chris Rock. Oh, I got to turn, the Oscars, right? Yeah, what channel is it on? Oh, ABC. All right, let's put it on ABC. So I'm sure a lot of I'm sure there was some conversations going on around the world, around the country, right, about what just transpired. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, interesting story. And I mean, again, if it's fake, it's not a good look. Even if fake real, it's still a bad look for Will Smith. But at the same time, he won an Oscar. And at the same time, he's not going to jail. And at the same time, he's not paying a fine. At the same time, it's probably not going to affect his money in any way, shape, or form. So at the end of the day, did it really happen? I mean, he got his smack off and he went on with his life. He got his smack off and he goes on. He lives maybe happily ever after, right? Because Chris Rock at this point is not going to press charges at this point in time. So it might not even end up being anything. It's just a smack. Chris Rock's face stung a little bit. Chris Rock goes on tour. Chris Rock, enjoys himself, and obviously ticket sales should be robust because people are going to care and people want to know and want to see his reaction and what he has to say about it. So, all is well in Chris Rock's world and all is probably well in Will Smith's world, right? We it's a viral moment and people are going to be talking about this moment for a long period of time. And again, here's the thing. And when it comes to ratings, right, in terms of sports or anything, you're going to get your hardcore. You're going to get your hardcore movie buffs out watching the Oscars. You're going to get that. But you want to bring that's a given. But you want to bring everybody else in, right? You want to bring the casual movie fan in. You want to bring all those people in. And so this moment brought all those people in and then some. It brought all those people in. And the same thing in sports, right? You're going to get the hardcores, but you want those casuals. You want to bring those casuals along and have them watch. That's what you want to do. So, look, smack heard around the world. It's a big smack. You actually heard it, right? You heard the sound. Right? Kind of, obviously his microphone's there and everything. So you heard the sounds. And it was like, wow, this dude just smacked him. Wow, he just took the taste out of his mouth. Wow, it's crazy. It's definitely a crazy situation. But again, if it was real, and Will Smith would have actually hurt a 57-year-old Chris Rock, right? It's not a 27-year-old Chris Rock. It's a 57-year-old Chris Rock. If Will Smith would have hit this dude the right way, could have did something, right? If he would have followed through on that smack, he could have Chris Rock laying on that ground. And who knows, again, you're going on a floor that does not give. So who knows what would have happened? Could have been concussed, right? Could have did some things. Could have did some things, man. I mean, we can't dismiss that part. And I'm not going to dismiss that part. You cannot dismiss that part. Fortunately, Chris Rock goes home happy. Unfortunately, Will Smith goes home happy. But it could have been a bad situation. It could have been a bad situation. But fortunately, it wasn't. And again, I think all parties probably benefit from it in some way, shape, or form, especially Chris Rock. I think Chris Rock is the winner with this whole situation. I think Chris Rock is the winner of Sunday night. Because again, this dude now, people are going to care about what he says going forward, at least in the short term, about this incident. People are going to want to care. And so there's better ways to handle this, obviously. You handle this in the back. You handle this away from the cameras. You handle this away from everybody. You can almost, this is kind of maybe a show-off moment for Will Smith. You can make that argument, right? Because he knew the target, Chris Rock, was someone that he would have no issue with in terms of physicality, in terms of Chris Rock coming back and wanting to fight him, in terms of Chris Rock trying to put hands on him. He knew that Chris Rock was the perfect target. He was the perfect mark. He knew it. So for him, this was taking candy from a baby. This was easy money for him. He knew Chris Rock wasn't nobody formidable. He knew Chris Rock wasn't going to be able to do anything to him. So he said, you know what? This is my moment. This is my time. This is my moment in time to show out. This is my moment to show out and show off and show the world. Like, look, I'm Will Smith, baby. And I'm taking care of him, and I'm defending the honor of my beautiful wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. I'm Will Smith, baby, and I'm taking care of my wife. I'm protecting my wife. I'm the man. I'm that dude. There's not, I'm the top dude here. Look at me, right? He did it on the big stage for everybody to see. This was a situation. Grown people usually handle this stuff in the back. Like, you'll see Chris Rock at some point in time, holler at him. You know, talk to him behind the scenes. But you did it out in the front for everybody to watch and everybody to see. That tells me, it shows me that maybe you were showing off. That shows me that maybe, you know what, you were like, look, the world is watching. Let me get off right now. The world is watching. This is my moment. Let me just show it off. Will Smith had the big stage. Again, grown people are handling this stuff in the back. Grown people are talking this over. Grown people ain't running on the stage on live national television and smacking dudes. Especially 53-year-old dudes like Will Smith. He ain't smacking dudes. That's not what 53-year-old men do. They don't smack dudes on national television. You don't do that on national television. If you were going to do that, maybe you do it in the background. But you shouldn't be laying hands on no dudes. Nobody should be, especially at that age. I mean, you shouldn't be out here fighting at that age. You shouldn't be out here laying hands on people at that age. You shouldn't be getting your face laid. No one should be laying hands on you at that age. So Will Smith was out of pocket. But it's a type of behavior that is show-off type of behavior. Like, yo, he disrespected me and my wife on national TV. Hold up. Let me go up there and handle this. That's immature behavior. That's I got this stage. Let me take advantage behavior. Like that's that type of behavior. That's not adult behavior. Adults don't do that. Adults don't act in that manner. It was immature behavior. It was erratic behavior. And if it was legit, if it was real, maybe there's a larger issue going on with Will Smith. Maybe he needs to be on somebody's couch at this point in time. Maybe he needs to take a step away from the limelight and get whatever he's got going on right. And that's okay too. Actually, it's great. It's great if you want to go get help. It's great to sit down and talk to people. It's great to sit on somebody's couch and get the help that you need. That stuff is great. That stuff is great. All planned. Can't you see the obvious? Maybe it was planned. I don't know. Maybe it was. I'll put it to you this way. I wouldn't dismiss it. I'm not going to say, man, you're crazy. That was real. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say it's Hollywood, man. These are actors, trained actors. Oscar award-winning actor. Come on. So yeah, I'm not going to say, oh, this is fake. I mean, this is real, or this wasn't real. This is fake, and all that. Could be easily be fake. I ain't going to dismiss that. I don't think anybody else would. This pretty much could be fake. You know, you got publicists out here. You got a lot of producers out there, and look, let's put this together, man. This is going to be great for your career. Yo, Will, Chris, here's what we're going to do. You go up and you say this joke. You talk about Jada Pinkett, right? And then, Will, here's what you're going to do. You're going to walk up to the stage, right? And you're going to go up and then you're going to smack Chris Rock. Don't smack him too hard now, but smack him enough where, you make him sting, make the face sting a little bit so make it look real. And then go back to your seat and start yelling like a madman, all right? All right? And then eventually, you know what? A couple hours later, you're going to win the Oscar anyway. All right? You're all good. You're going to probably win. And so this will be a great moment for you. And then, you'll go, this will go viral. This will be a viral moment for you. This will be a viral moment for Chris. What do you think? Let's do it. I mean, hey, I'm not going to say that didn't happen. I'm not going to say it didn't happen. Right? Because, again, these are actors, and that's what they do. They know how to transform themselves into things. They know how to transform themselves into crazy. They know how to transform themselves into all these different things. They know how to do it. They're actors. That's what they do. That's their craft. That's what makes them them. They know how to do these things. So, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say it wasn't planned. No, not at all. And I don't think anybody else can say that. We don't know. We don't know what's going on in the back halls there, out there. We don't know. Now, if we go on the premise that it's real, then, I think Will definitely has to think about some things. I think Will, if this is real, needs to take a step back and look at himself and figure out what is going on with him. Why did he act in that way? Why did he act in that manner? Was he trying to be a Tommy tough guy? Why? Why? But there's a lot of people, out here, typing away on social media saying I would have did this, that, and the third. You ain't gonna talk about my girl like that. Nah, man. Nah, he ain't gonna do that. I would smack them too, man. Nah, he can't talk about my girl. That's my girl. You can't talk about my girl like that with me sitting right there. They ain't going down like that. You ain't doing. I mean, a lot of that going on, right? A lot of people doing that right now, right? I ain't laying the hands on nobody. I'm picking up my phone. I'm calling the cops. I'm not putting my hands on nobody. And I want to. And somebody put their hands on me. I'm calling the cops. I'm not putting no hands on nobody, right? I'm a man. I'm a 40-some-odd-year-old man. I don't need to be putting my hands on no one, right? And no one needs to be putting their hands on me. I'm calling the cops. And that's what I'm calling the cops. If somebody putting their hands on me, I'm calling the cops. And Will Smith, right, put his hands on Chris Rock. And look, if I'm Chris Rock in that particular situation, I'm not pressing charges. I'm moving on with my life. I ain't gonna press no charges. For what? I ain't get hurt. My face stung a little bit. Nothing a little alcohol can't handle. Nothing a little, right in the, what I mean? Nothing that anything can't handle. It'll go away. The sting will go away. I'll be good. I'll have no issue, no problem going forward. So, yeah, I ain't worried about that. That's just a little smack. I'm good. But again, if it would have escalated into anything more than that, then yeah, maybe he should have went. Maybe he could have pressed charges. But look, he wasn't in no danger, right? Will Smith, he didn't really. He could have gave him a cold. He could have really hit him hard and really laid into that punch if he wanted to, or that smack if he wanted to. But he didn't. He didn't. He could have did it more. He could have did more, but he didn't. So if I'm Chris Rock, I'm not calling the cops there, but you don't even need to call the cops there because it's on national TV. The cops, they saw it themselves, right? The footage is right there. You don't really need to call the cops in that spot, in that situation. But again, who's doing that? I get him not pressing charges at this point. I don't think that would be a good move to press charges. Why? Just go on, move on, and everything as well. But again, at the same time, as I said numerous times, 53-year-old men don't need to be laying hands on a 57-year-old man. Grown people don't need to lay hands on people, right? That don't need to happen, and it shouldn't happen. So what happened last night was wrong, dead wrong. His behavior last night was erratic, very erratic. It's crazy. Like he was acting like a madman. He was acting like a madman, yelling, no. Keep my wife's name out of my mouth. Yelling like a madman. Like a weirdo, pretty much. Like, dude, you're on national TV acting crazy. This dude just said a little joke about your wife. And I know your wife has alopecia going on. I don't want to dismiss that. Maybe she's a little self-conscious about it. Maybe it's something that bothers her. I get all that. But still not the way you handle that. That's not the way you handle that. That's not the way you conduct yourselves. You don't conduct yourself in that manner. You're grown. You're not a little kid, dude. You're 53 years old. You don't conduct yourself in that manner. The way you handle it is handle in the back. Talk to him in the back. You talk to him like a man. Like, yo, this yada, 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 yada. Yada, 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 yada. I didn't appreciate that. I didn't wish, my wife was a little embarrassed by that. She ain't like that. So in the future, could you kind of steer away from that particular joke? That's all that had to be said. That's all the conversation that had to be said. That's all that needed to be said. Could you, in the future, not do that? In the future, could you avoid talking about her hair? Could you avoid doing that? Because obviously it hurts. She doesn't like it, and she's a little self-conscious about it. But I remember, Jada Pinkett has always had a short style, right? She's always had a fairly short style from time to time. And again, she wears it well. She's a beautiful woman. So she don't really have anything to feel self-conscious about, right? So, in that instance, right, she's a beautiful woman. She's a beautiful woman. She wears it well. Look, I'm bald, and I don't want to be bald. I wish I could have hair. I wish I could have hair. I would love to have hair. I would love to have hair. But I don't have it. So you got to make the best of it. You got to do what you got to do to get by. And you look at Jada Pinkett, and maybe she's self conscious, and maybe she didn't like it. Maybe it offended her it made her upset. I get it. I understand. Look, and I don't want to dismiss that part. I get that. I get all that. But at the same time, it's just a joke. It was a joke. And again, you have to measure people's intent. The law measures your intent when you do something. The law measures intent. You got to measure people's intent. You got to look at their intent. Was Chris Rock trying to hurt Jada Pinkett Smith on Sunday night out there in California? No. Was he trying to tell a joke and make people laugh? Yes. That was all he was trying to do. He just he said it. Look, it was just a G.I. Jane joke. He said it. And keep my wife's name out your mouth. No. I mean, come on. And I think, we got to look at that from the standpoint, these are grown people doing grown things. And not doing grown things. Grown people and they're not doing grown things. From Will Smith's standpoint, again, to Chris Rock's credit, I think Chris Rock handled this thing like a champ. I think Chris Rock handled this thing the right way. This dude ate it, kept on going. He handled it the right way. And maybe he's like, at the same time, because, there's certain dudes, like big dudes, if somebody's big dude, pushed you or, smacked you or stepped on your shoes or something like that, you're probably not going to do much. Now, if it's somebody you think you can take, well, you're going to go probably to try to take them. So that's all. That's all when it comes to this situation. His head seems to be a bit ahead of the slap. Has it been slowed down and blown up? I don't know. I'm sure it has. Right? It's a smack heard around the world. I'm sure people have blown it up and looked at it from all these different angles to figure out whether or not it was real, whether or not it was fake. Yeah, I'm sure that's been happening all over the place. Again, he didn't lay into that smack. He didn't lay into it. He could have easily laid into it, but maybe that was the whole thing. Maybe it was just to sting him a little bit, yo, you're not doing this, just to make him aware. Maybe it was, it was a love tap to a degree to make him aware, look, nah, man, you're not doing this. You're not talking to me. You're not talking about my wife in this manner, not while I'm sitting here. You're not doing it. And again, would Will Smith have done this if Mike Tyson said the joke? Would Will Smith have done it if Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson had said the joke? Would Will Smith have done it if Kevin Hart would have said the joke? Kevin Hart's a little, short, but he's younger, and Kevin Hart seems to be in decent shape. Would he have done it if anybody else? Right? He knew. And, Chris Rock, maybe part of the reason he reacted in the way he reacted because he was shocked. This dude just smacked me for saying a joke. And we've seen Will Smith do a lot of jokey jokes over the year. Will Smith is a guy that likes to joke and tell jokes and be a funny dude. Right? So, we've seen Will Smith do these type of things and be a funny guy, make fun of people. And again, Will Smith didn't react because he made fun of Will Smith. In theory, Will Smith reacted because he made fun of Will Smith's wife. Again, Will Smith maybe felt the need to defend his wife. You got to look at it, man. He had an opportunity to defend his wife and look good in that particular spot and situation, knowing that Chris Rock is not going to do much and knowing that he could beat up Chris Rock. So you got to look at it from that standpoint. If you have an opportunity to do it and to clap back at somebody, knowing that person is inferior to you in terms of physicality, well, you have that chance to do it, and you might just do it. You might take that chance and look good in the eyes of your wife. Look good. I look good tonight, don't I? Jada, you love me, right? You love me, right? You appreciate what I did here, right? Now, we all saw there's a meme out here, and I got to find it. There's a meme out here with Jada Pinkett talking, and or it's on there talking about, well, would have Tupac would have shot him or something like that. Because we all know Jada Pinkett and Tupac had a close relationship, and they were friends. But there's a meme out here that where he was said that they were saying that Tupac would have shot him in that particular spot. I mean, so there's a meme out here that says that, and I'm gonna find it, but while I talk to you. But look. I mean, it was whether it was real, fake, or what have you. It was very compelling. It was very compelling stuff. It was very compelling stuff. Very interesting stuff, right? It definitely, was funny. It was a funny. It was funny. It was It was something to think about. It definitely was something that was interesting. It definitely was compelling. It definitely was something that had people talking and thinking about it and caring about the Oscars, which again, I said numerous times, was having some ratings issues, right? Look, here's the meme. So, well, I'm not impressed. Tupac would have shot him. That's the meme, right? And again, that's funny. That's pretty funny, right? But I don't know, man. Look, it's like this, right? He being Will Smith, felt like he had to do something for his woman. He had to fight for her honor, right? What the song? I am the man who will fight for your honor, right? That song, right? He felt like that's what he had to do. He had to fight for her honor, and that's what he did. He fought for her honor. Maybe. Sean Franklin, hell nah, we throwing hands, right? That's what you're doing in that particular spot, Sean. I mean, that's your business, that's your prerogative. But are you talking about Chris Rock throwing hands? Are you talking about if you're Will Smith, you're throwing hands? Who's throwing hands here? If you're Chris Rock or you Will Smith, right? So Sean's like, we throwing hands. Hell nah, we throwing hands, right? We throwing hands. Hands is going to be thrown. So who's throwing the hands, Sean? Is it? Are you Will Smith throwing the hands? Or are you Chris Rock throwing the hands and retaliating? Who are you in this particular spot? So because I know, Sean, if you throwing hands in that particular spot, your woman might like it. Your lady might be loving it. Like, yo, Sean, that's that guy. That's that dude. He's looking out. He's fighting for my honor. That's my guy. I love Sean. Ooh, Sean, he's the best. He's fighting for me, right? Maybe that's what she's thinking, your wife, in that particular spot, right? But at the same time, she might be like, yo, this dude is stupid. He's taking money out of our house. He got to get lawyers now. We got to lawyer up because he laid hands on this dude. And now we gotta go to court. We got to do all this craziness because Sean don't know how to act because somebody said a little joke about me, right? I ain't worried about that joke. I ain't worried about no Chris Rock. So you talk about The Rock would have had some defense going up if it is not planned, in my opinion. But who knows? Like you said, who knows? Yeah, who knows, man? Like, who really knows? Like, who knows what this was? Look, let's hope it was staged. Let's hope it was staged. Let's hope that this wasn't real. Let's just hope that Chris Rock was trying to have a come up. Will Smith was trying to have a come up. Let's just hope that none of this was real. Let's just hope that. Let's just hope that this was just some fake business. Let's just hope there's some Hollywood BS, some Hollywood nonsense. Let's just hope it was that, right? Let's hope that. Because, again, nobody wants to see Will Smith acting crazy like this, right? But this is what happens when you get entangled. You get entangled and you start acting crazy. You get entangled and you start smacking people on national TV. You get entangled, you know what I mean? And you just start, ranting and raving like a crazy man, like a lunatic. That's what happens when you get entangled. Don't get entangled, right? Try not to be involved with people who are entangling themselves with other people. That's what happens. That's what happens. It's a good thing. Threw me off, did some research last night. He was mocking Christians when studying Scientology in his book, Will explained he was into black magic. Maybe did some little black magic, right? Maybe it's like, maybe did some black magic before he stepped out on the stage and was like, yo, let me do, the black magic. Maybe the black magic got him acting like this, acting crazy, acting possessed, acting like a weirdo. I mean, maybe that's what happened here. Who knows, man? Right? Who knows? But it's just like, dude, grown men don't act this way. They don't. And again, I know he's not perfect. None of us are perfect. All of us have done some things that are regrettable. All of us have said some things that are regrettable. All of us. If you lived long enough, you said some things and did some things that you would like to have back. Pronto, right away. But the reality of life, once you put it out there, it's hard to get it back. Once you do something like that on national TV and one of the biggest stages, you can't get that back. You can't take that back. You can't take that back. You can't take it back. So he's got to live with that. He's got to live with that. And to some degree, it was a great thing because his wife might love him even more. His wife might be even more attracted to him after what happened. His wife might be, may have felt deeper in love with Will Smith after what happened on Sunday night. His wife might be like, I love this man. I love me some him. His wife might be all saying all those things after what transpired. His wife might be super in love with this dude. Right? They might have had a great time last night after what happened. Again, the dude had an amazing acceptance speech. The speech was great. That was a great speech. That was a great speech. But how many people are going to remember that speech? How many people are truly going to remember that speech? What are they going to remember more, the speech or the smack? What are they going to remember more, him winning the Oscar or the smack? Like, what are they going to remember more? And sadly, it's probably going to be the smack. Because that's what happens, unfortunately, in the world that we live in. You get known if, the bad outweighs the good. Bad news travels faster than good news does. Look how fast this traveled. Look how fast this news traveled. But there was no way this news couldn't travel. This was on national TV. There's no way this news could have just stayed, in some place, some remote place. No, the news had to go everywhere. This news had to go everywhere because the reality is that he did it on national TV. So he couldn't hide it, couldn't run from it, couldn't do anything. He had to just eat this. And again, I think, like I said, Will Smith has eaten a lot over the years in terms of jokes, joke after joke after joke after joke. You can't go around smacking everybody that says a joke about you, but you sure go smack Chris Rock because he's somebody I can take. He's somebody I can beat up. He's somebody I can lay hands on and nothing he could do to me. Let me do it on this stage, right? Anyway, even if let's just say, let's look at it from this standpoint. What if Will Smith didn't think he could beat up Chris Rock, right? But he goes up and gets that smack in. Okay, he gets that smack in, steps away for a little bit. Security will come by at some point in time, break it all up. People will break it all up. He'll go this direction. He'll go that direction. He'll look like Tony Tough Guys, right? It's just like in NBA fights. We look at all these fights in sports. Dudes go up to each other. Ain't none of these dudes really fight. None of these dudes can fight. They're not really fighting. But, they push. The other dude push back. Officials come in. Everybody comes, breaks it up. Fight's over. Situation squash. But at the moment, you look tough. The other guy looks tough. Everybody looks tough. Right? So, even if it was The Rock, let's say it was The Rock, Will could go up there, sneak and smack The Rock, and, kind of run away. Security come, try to hold The Rock back, but the security's going to be there. You got police there. Everybody's going to be there, so it's going to get broken up. It's going to get broken up, and there's not going to be anything. So, look, again, you don't do it if you're Will Smith, if this is real. You don't act in that manner. That's not, but I said before, I'll say it again. This could have been his moment, his time to shine, to show off, to show his wife, look, I'll run through walls for you, baby, and I'll act crazy for you on national TV, right? I'll do it at the Oscars. I'll do this at the Oscars because I love you. You're my world. You're my earth. I'll do anything for you. And I'll do it at the Oscars in front of everybody. I don't care. I know there's people there, there's cops there, there's national TV. I don't care. I don't care. He's not going to talk to you or say a joke about you like that, baby. He's not going to do it and get away with it. I'm Will Smith, baby. That's not going to happen. It's not happening. And so that's basically, maybe that's what his thought process was. Or maybe the whole thing was fake. Maybe he just did it just to up his career. Maybe Chris Rock went along with it to up his career. Right? Maybe that's what transpired. But this is a great night for Will Smith in terms of him winning an Oscar. That's huge, man. That's big time. That's big time. That means you're one of the best. That means you're one of the best at what you do. And Will Smith, again, big time actor. Great actor. Great actor. He's a great actor. He gets it done. And did he continue that acting Sunday night? Maybe not. Was this him just continuing that great? Should he give him an Oscar for what he did on Sunday night? Should we give him the Oscar for what he did on Sunday night? Right? The Oscar goes to Will Smith again, right? For what he did. And maybe Chris Rock gets an Oscar in terms of supporting role. Who knows? But it was a wild night. It was a wild night out there. But it's the type of moment that maybe if you're the people, the Oscars, you're like, okay, Chris Rock, you're gonna host next year, right? You're it. You're gonna be the host, all right. And Will obviously is gonna be nominated. We'll nominate him for something. Let's find something to nominate him for. Make sure he's there in the building as well. So we have everybody in the building, right? And let's do this again. And I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of people who's going to watch, who's going to care, who wants to be there, who's going to be in front of their TV because of what happened yesterday, right? So that's a possibility. You don't think they're going to capitalize off this situation? Why wouldn't they? Why would they not capitalize off it? They're going to capitalize off of this, and they're going to try to make this big. They're going to try to do something with it. The Oscars they're going to try to do something with this. They're going to try to do something with this. I mean, they're going to try to parlay this into something. Again, the ratings have been down. People don't care about this the way they used to. The ratings have been down. So they were like, you know what? Let's give them something to talk about. They're like, let's give them something to talk about, right? And they gave them something to talk about, right? They gave a lot of people something to talk about. Everybody's talking about this. They gave people something to talk about. They just gave people something to talk about. That's good for business. That is good for business. This kind of stuff sells. This is a viral video. This video is viral. The world saw what happened last night and loved it. Or at least loved to talk about it. They love to talk about it. And again. That's if it's real. And I don't know if it's, like I said, I don't know. But like I said, these are big time actors, and they know what to do. They know how to conduct themselves. They know how to sell a scene, right? Maybe they practice this thing over and over. You got to do it. Will, you didn't hit me right. Will, that slap wasn't believable. Do it again. Let's do it again. That wasn't believable. Do it again. All right, you got to make sure you're standing up, man. In your eyes, we got to get your eyes right. So we make sure when we pan the camera back over, the eyes are angry. You got to make sure you're angry and upset. When we pan the thing back over, we got to make sure you're angry and upset. Let's make sure we do that. All right, action. Right, man. Who knows how many times they did this to pull this off to make this right. I mean, we all know reality TV. There's some parts of it that's really not real. We know that, and we know that again, maybe this isn't real, maybe it's real, maybe it's real fake. Maybe it's real fake. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But it was real entertaining. It was real entertaining. Right? It wasn't fake. Will wouldn't put his career on the line and use his wife's disease as an excuse. This didn't make the Oscars more relevant, and the Academy wants to pay for those. F-bombs, right? I see what you're saying, but we've also got to remember that ratings have been down. But it's not like this has been like a rating. I mean, yes, I believe they're paying $2 million a spot, $2 million for a commercial spot for the Oscar. So it is something. It is something. But the ratings haven't been what they used to be. And so again, I'm not saying it's fake, but I wouldn't put it past anybody. I'm not saying it's fake. I'm not saying it's real. But it is what it is. So if we're gonna look at it, we're gonna look at it as real. Look at it as real. But you can look at it as fake as well. And I don't, you look at Real's career. I mean, his career, he just won an Oscar. Like, I don't think this would affect him getting any jobs. I agree. His career is like he's hurting for money. No. I mean, yeah, I'm sure he's not hurting for money, but I'm sure he would like to make more. But I don't think, this is a situation where he is just, look, has this really impacted him to a degree? Probably not. Like, we're talking about him, his name is in our mouths. And his name might not have been in our mouths because, he won an Oscar, but it's more so in our mouths, not because he won an Oscar, which is a great award, a great honor. It's in our mouths because of, him. It's in our mouths because of what he did, his smack. That's why his name is in our mouths, right? It's not because he won an Oscar. And yeah, the Academy may pay for those F-bombs, right? Somebody's got paid for FCC, somebody got paid for it. But again, okay. But you brought attention to the product. And it might bring people back next year because they want to know the aftermath. They want to know the aftermath of what happened. Well, you could argue, did Chris Rock cross the line? Did he cross the line? I think that is tricky. On the surface, maybe. But it's comedy. And, and I know the rules of comedy to a degree have changed. I know as a society we have become maybe a little bit more sensitive than we were years ago. We have. That's true. We are a more sensitive society. And you could say rightfully so. Or you could say it's not good. Right? At some point, you got to be able to take a joke, give a joke, got to be able to take a joke. And you got to be okay with. Now, again, if a person is not comfortable with you talking about their alopecia or their illness or anything of that nature, right? I can understand him being upset, but that's a conversation. That's a conversation. That's not a smack. That's a conversation. That's a, Chris, can I talk to you for a moment? That's a look, my wife felt disrespected and she feels some type of way when it comes to her alopecia. She's very self-conscious about that particular situation. So going forward, could you, not do that particular joke? Please. I would appreciate it and she would appreciate it. That's a conversation. Because, maybe Chris Rock didn't know that it bothered her to that degree. Because we have seen Jada Pinkett Smith over the years wearing short styles. We have seen that from her. So maybe Chris Rock didn't know it bothered her to that degree. Maybe he didn't know. But that's a conversation. That ain't a smack. Right? That's not, yeah, he could be wrong. But Will Smith's reaction was equally wrong, maybe even worse. Maybe even worse. So, yeah, I get it. We could say he crossed the line. Maybe he did. But at the same time, we have to, I like to measure intent. And I like to look at his intentions. And you never know what a person's true intentions are. But if his intentions are a fact, was it from his point of view, meaning Chris Rock's point of view, was it just a joke? Nothing more, nothing less, just a joke. Or was it something that, Was it more than that? Was it something he was like looking to get after the Smiths? And, he had an axe to grind. And, I know this hurts her feelings, so let me go after her and joke in that manner. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think the intent was pure. I think it's pure. But I can understand him or her not being happy with that. Let me ask you this. Could you personally find anything of humor in that particular joke? I think there was some humor in that joke. I think there was some humor in the joke. It kind of made sense. G.I. Jane, what was that, Demi Moore? She had her head shaved for the particular role. So, I don't think that was, I think there was some humor in the joke. Now, maybe Chris Rock didn't know. Maybe Chris Rock didn't know she had alopecia. Who knows? Because again, over the years, Jada Pinkett has worn short styles. So maybe he didn't know that. Maybe he did. I don't know. So I can understand the humor in the joke. But again, sometimes you don't know a joke hurts somebody's feelings until they tell you. And obviously it hurt their feelings. So they could have told him. Will could have told him, but not in that way. Because, at that point, if that really hurt Jada Pinkett Smith's feelings, and Will wanted, and she was hurt by everything, so on and so forth, well, at that point, Chris Rock is going to be like, yo, I don't care. Your husband just smacked me. So I'm going to keep telling the joke. I'm going to keep going because your husband disrespected me instead of having a conversation with me. And I feel like that was a thing you could have a conversation with someone. That's something you could take somebody aside, like, let's talk. Look, man, she ain't like that. She ain't like that. Oh, my bad. I didn't know. My bad. Well, I didn't know. My bad. I won't do that again. Respect, so on and so forth. I get that. Men losing their hair, one thing. Women actually naturally would find that a lot more embarrassing. I would agree with that. I definitely would agree with that. But as a man, I don't like losing my hair. I didn't like losing my hair. That's not something I wanted to do. But I get what you're saying. And it makes sense. But sometimes, again, you don't know if the joke hurts someone's feelings unless they tell you. You won't know. So if they never tell you, you will never know. Now, again, it's not acceptable. If something hurts someone's feelings, you probably shouldn't do it again, or whether it's a joke or not a joke, for sure. Now that he formally and officially knows that this hurts her feelings, he probably shouldn't go back to the joke. But at the same time, after getting smacked, you kind of want to understand why he would go back to the joke, because it's like, yo, this guy disrespected me, and I was just doing a joke. And my intention wasn't to hurt anybody's feelings. He could have talked to me privately. He could have pulled me aside, took me somewhere, and we could talk like men and squashed it and got through with it. Say, you apologize, my bad, I'm sorry, and let's go forward. That's what could have happened. That's what could have easily have happened. But anytime you make that thing physical, well, the person on the other side, they're not going to be somebody who's going to be like, they might not want to have that conversation, right? They might be like, you know what, forget you. I'm going to do what I got to do, and I'm going to go harder. I'm going harder now. So, at the end of the day, right? Again, if something hurts your feelings, and if I hurt your feelings, you hurt my feelings, and I tell you that it hurts my feelings, well, then again, you shouldn't do it again. You should, whatever you did that hurt my feelings, you should try not to do it again. Keyword is try, because sometimes we hurt people's feelings and we do it again and again and again. It's not purposely, but it just happens. So the keyword is try. But it's comedy here. And in comedy, it's not meant to humiliate and embarrass someone. Well, you said sometimes there's not other option than to nip it at the bud, right? Nip the problem at the bud, I should say. So sometimes there's not other option than to nip the problem at the bud. Sure, I get that, but you can't go around smacking dudes. As grown people, you can't be going around smacking, man, because those smacks have consequences. It does. In this instance, no, because Chris Rock at this point, he ain't pressing charges. But these type of smacks have consequences. And, you got to be able to control yourself in a better way. Because, again, you have a family. And you being in prison or you being, taking money out of your household, and granted, it's Will Smith, so he has money to do it. But an average Joe taking money out of their household to get a lawyer. So, that costs money. You're taking money out of your household. Not an issue for Will Smith, but an issue for an average Joe. So you're taking money out of your household because you're trying to be Tony Tough Guy to a degree. You're taking money out of your household because you're trying to go on a national stage and show the world that you're tough. Because, again, irrational, and again, rational's the key word because, sometimes as people, we do irrational things. We try to be rational. We try to do the right thing, but sometimes we become irrational, and I get that. And in some respect, we are entitled to have moments where we fall short, because we all fall short in some way, shape, or form. But unfortunately, there are consequences for falling short. And hopefully, the consequences aren't, in this instance, the consequences don't appear to be, they're not going to be serious. Everybody's going to go home happy in this instance. But in other instances where, these type of things happen, people don't necessarily go home happy. And here, everybody goes home happy to a degree. In other instances, that may not be the case. But yeah, look, he did nip the problem in the bud to a degree, right? Or you could argue maybe he made a bigger problem. Who knows? Who knows what could come from this? Who knows if there's going to be a public backlash, which I haven't really seen. Like, you've seen some people going out and say, real, what you're doing, like, yo, why you did this and all this other stuff, I lost respect for you and so on and so forth. But then you got the other side, like, yo, he defended his wife, he defended his woman, he defended her honor. You can't talk about somebody's woman, someone's lady, someone's wife in public like that and expect to get away with it. So a lot of people are for it, or you got a lot of people against it. So you got a lot of people on both sides of the aisle. You got people on both sides of the aisle in defense, and then, others chastising him. Me, I get why he did what he did. But my opinion, nah, you can't do that. You can't do it. I don't care how much it hurts your feelings or your wife's feelings. You can't do it. That's not the way you handle it. You can't handle it in that manner. Now, obviously, if Chris Rock laid hands on his wife, that's a whole nother story. Will obviously would do what he needed to do and probably would be justified. But this was a joke. This was a joke. And maybe the joke, again, obviously the joke hit a little too close to home, and obviously the joke hurt. But at the same time, you cannot conduct yourselves in that manner. You can't be laying hands on people. Can't do it. Cannot do it. 53-year-old men don't need to be laying hands on anybody. Will Smith is 53 years old. He don't need to lay hands on no one. Shouldn't be laying hands on no one. So that's just unacceptable behavior, and that's the type of behavior that's going to get you in a lot of trouble, right? Especially an average Joe. Maybe not here, but an average Joe could get you in a lot of trouble because you can't be going around smacking people. And depending on your profession, that type of smack in that particular situation could affect your ability to be employed. So you got to look at this bigger. And we can look at it. I think if we look at it surface and look at it on a shallow level, just look at it like, yo, eye for an eye. Or disrespect deserves physical contact. You disrespect me, I'm coming at you with the physical. You disrespect my wife with a joke, I'm coming at you with the physical. Like, you don't know, sometimes, again, you don't know if the joke is going to hurt whoever's feelings. You don't know until they tell you. And again, a conversation behind the scenes would rectify this whole situation, and, guys move forward with their lives. But this does not rectify the situation. And who knows if they rectified it behind the scenes? Who knows if they talked and discussed it and moved on with their lives? But again, everybody does certain things, and things that you do, unfortunately, does have consequences. He can because he's Will Smith, just like LeBron could break the collusion rules in the NBA. Don't talk about LeBron. He's a great GM. Well, Well, not this time around because that roster that they built in Los Angeles this year is not very good. Not having AD around hurts, but I mean, yes. But again, he is Will Smith, and Will Smith, I'm not saying he's above the law. No one's above the law, but to a degree, I mean, he smacked the right one. He smacked the right one. He smacked a guy that he knew could not do anything to him on a physical level, so he smacked the right one. And at the same time, you got a guy who's not going to press charges. So in essence, he smacked the right one. Now, again, you don't go around smacking people. Again, you don't lay hands on people as an adult. Nobody should have their hands have anybody touching them. Yes, I do remember in one point in the speech, Will mentioned how you have to be able to put up with abuse in this business and smile throughout and pretend everything is okay. Ironically, that's exactly what Chris did. Isn't it ironic? A little too ironic, right? Chris Rock did do that. He handled it like a professional. Look, the show must go on. It's Hollywood, right? The show's got to go on. The show must go on. The show must go on, and the show did go on. Will also talked about love and, spreading love and all about love. That wasn't love that we saw on Sunday night. That wasn't love. Maybe it was love in a roundabout way. Love from the standpoint that I love my wife, so I'm not going to let anybody talk to her in a manner that's going to be disrespectful. I'm not going to let anybody say a joke to her in a manner that's going to be disrespectful. So maybe from that standpoint, yeah. Maybe he did show love. He talked about defending people and so on and so forth, right? He defended his wife. He did all that. It was an amazing speech, but at the same time, there's a lot of hypocrisy in that speech. And his behavior was full of hypocrisy. But hey, we're all hypocrites. In some way, shape, or form, we're all hypocrites. We tell our kids to do a lot of different things. We've done it and still do it, right? So, spreading hate because you love your wife isn't spreading love, though. It is keeping love in. Well, yeah, it's not spreading love the way you should be spreading love, but it is demonstrating love to a degree because he's demonstrating how much he loves his wife. So, and that was his way of showing that he's going to defend her honor, and he's going to prove this is how much I love her. I love her so much, and I'm going to get out of my seat. I'm going to walk up to the stage on national TV with all these cameras looking, and with all these cameras means that I just incriminated myself, and I'm just going to smack this dude, and I don't care what happens afterward. I'm just live with the consequences, and that is what he did. He was like, I'm getting up here because I love my wife, and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to handle my business because this dude just disrespected my wife. That's what he did. Again, immature. Again, erratic. Again, irresponsible. All those things, right? All those things. And then some. But he had to do it. That's his wife. He loves her. You're not going to disrespect my wife. You're not going to do that to my wife. You're not going to talk to her in that manner. You're not going to say jokes to her about her hair. She's self-conscious about that. And I get it. I understand. Well, I don't understand because I'm a man. And I know that women in terms are very particular and can, feel a certain type of way if they lose their hair. I get that. I understand that. I get it to as much as I can get it. But at the same time, that whole situation just required a conversation. And, an apology on Chris Rock's part afterwards in private, right? You don't do that in public. Private. It's a private conversation. Two grown men get together and two grown men speak about it and talk about it and get through it. That's what grown people, they don't do this. That's not what grown people do. There's not, grown people don't be going around smacking dudes because they said a joke. That's not what grown people do. No matter how you put it, that's just not what grown people do, right? You don't do that. You don't do that. You don't act in that manner. You don't conduct yourself in that manner, and so on and so forth. So who knows? Who knows? It's a interesting dynamic. It's an interesting situation, and I just we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We'll see how this whole situation works out going forward. We'll see how this whole thing works. Imagine if Brad Pitt had slapped Chris Rock. People might bring race into the conversation, right? And there might be a conversation about race if that would have transpired. Sure, definitely, probably. But, would Chris Rock have hit him back? Probably not. This gentleman, I was watching the Oscars with my 7 kids. They're also watching this now, and I had to explain to them why it's not okay. You know what, Chris? You know what, Carter? Carter Anderson? Let me respond to that because I talked about that earlier. You're right. Now, Will Smith is a role model, whether he wants to be or wants to be or not. He's a role model. So again, his behavior on that particular day, yesterday, Sunday, would make a teenager or an impressionable young mind believe that that's how you handle disputes. You handle it with the physical. Instead of having a conversation, if instead of having a conversation and talking to people about how you should talk to people and how you're supposed to handle situations, right? He went out and just smacked him. So you do have an obligation when you're a celebrity you have an obligation, whether you want it or not. That's a part of the stage. That's the thing that comes with all of it. You can't just pick and choose what you want. I want this part, but I don't want this part. I want that part, but I don't want this part. You can't go around doing that. You can't pick and choose how you're going to do things. What you want from it, what you don't. You become a celebrity, you lose your privacy. You become a celebrity, all that happens. You got to take the good, you got to take the bad. It comes with it. And so Will Smith is a role model. And as a role model, it is your responsibility to conduct yourselves in a manner that is appropriate. And whether you want to do it or not. And again, I'm not saying he's perfect because clearly he's not. And you can't go around smacking people because, again, people are watching and a young, impressionable mind would think that's the way you handle all disputes, by going around just smacking people. Nah, that's not how you do it. That's not how you do it. And that will get you into a lot of trouble going forward. And maybe he can make a statement at some point. Will should have taken the mic and made a statement how that's not cool and explain the condition his wife had. And maybe. But I think that was his moment in terms of winning the Oscar that night and getting through what he needed to get through with that speech. But he tarnished that moment. He tarnished that moment. And in that particular spot, that particular situation. And so the moment was taken away from him. His moment in the sunshine, his moment in the sunlight, his moment where he is going to be applauded and loved for ages was taken away because he acted a fool. Yeah, Will Smith used to talk about Uncle Phil's baldness. Yes, for sure. For sure. Yeah, no doubt about it. He used to talk about his baldness all the time. But, and you can argue, it's a joke, right? Now, I know Jada Pinkett Smith is a woman and was, obviously women a little different when they lose their hair. But at the same time, there are some men out here who are very self-conscious about losing their hair. So, yeah, for sure. Will Smith should have been arrested on the spot, taken out in cuffs. Maybe, right? It is arrestable. It is an arrestable offense. It is something that it is illegal. You just can't go up and lay hands on someone. It is against the law to lay hands on someone. That is illegal. So maybe, I don't know if he should have been taken out in cuffs, but he could have. You can make an argument. Chris Rock has no malice in his heart. Even if you don't like the joke, you have to understand the person who said it. And it didn't mean it mean spirited way. It wasn't a mean spirited way. He was just trying to entertain. Yes, it wasn't mean spirited. It was not mean spirited, and that was my point as well. Intent. The law measures intent. We have to measure his intent here. His intent wasn't to hurt Jada Pinkett Smith's feelings. That wasn't his intentions. His intentions were to tell a joke, have a little fun, ha ha ha, he, everybody go home happy. He was doing his job. He was doing his job. So, look, you got to measure intent, and his intentions were pure, I believe. As pure as it can be. So, whether you agree or disagree with the joke, you got to measure the man's intent. You got to look at the man's heart. And I believe his heart was pure in that particular spot. I don't think he wanted to hurt her. I don't think he wanted to hurt her feelings. I don't think so. I think he was just trying to tell a joke. I stand with Chris. But everybody hates Chris. No, I mean, I don't know who. I mean, you know what? I stand. I give Chris Rock handled it like a pro. He handled it like a pro. Handled it like a G, if you will, right? He did what he had to do. He did what he had to do. So stand with Chris, sure. If Kanye did that, they would have thrown him out. They would have thrown Kanye out, right? I agree. He would have been taken out in cuffs. They would have took Kanye out in cuffs. I do believe that. They would have took him out in cuffs. Violence is never the answer, is what I told my wife's son. Yes, you're correct. Violence is never the answer. Violence is never the answer, is what I told my wife's son. Isn't that your son? That's your son too, right? I mean, your wife's son, maybe it's a step situation, but if that's another issue. But yeah, right. Violence is never the answer. It's never the answer. Never answer. Ironically, Smith's wife were offered G.I. Jane. 2, she'd take part in the $20 million that goes with it, for sure. She would take part in that and take the 20 mil that comes with it. I don't blame her, right? She should take it. She should take the role. She would do the role great. That's a great role for Jada Pinkett Smith. So yeah, I think she should take it. Let's let her have the role. I think she should get it. In fact, let's all push for Jada Pinkett Smith to get the role in that particular movie, G.I. Jane 2. But look, it made the Oscars compelling, right? Again, it made people care. And at the end of the day, maybe that's what the Oscars want. That's what the Academy wanted. The Academy wanted people to care. Because, like I said, people really haven't been caring about the Oscars of late. And maybe that's what they wanted. They wanted them to care. And they care now. People care. It's happiness, happy times. Ratings probably were ballooned after the smack heard around the world. So, yeah, I get it, man. It was crazy. It was crazy. Violence is the answer in regards to self-defense, sure. You got to defend yourself. But I know you're not maybe necessarily speaking to this particular situation, but to this particular situation, yeah, no. Well, black women look good, bald. Why are people tripping even if it's a disease? Maybe because she wants to have hair. I don't know, right? Like, I think if you want to have hair, you would trip a little bit because you don't have that option. So yeah, I think people want hair. Everybody wants hair. I love to have hair, right? So yeah, black women. People. I don't know. I mean, I want to have hair. I think everybody would love to have hair. Why not? Hair is great. People like options. I don't have options. If I want to be bald, let me be bald. If I want to grow a nice little fro, let me grow a fro. If I want to grow some dreads, let me grow some dreads. Right? If I want to do all those things, let me do all those things. Right? Let me have choices. Let me have choices. I want to have choices. Let me get some choices. And that's a choice. When you have hair, you have choices. So, I mean, it was wild. It was wild. It was crazy. It was interesting. But, at the end of the day, some argue it was staged. Some argue it was real. But at the end of the day, I would have to say, from the Academy's perspective, it was good for business. And it's good for ratings. And now maybe people will come back and come back and come back. God only made a few perfect heads. The rest, he covered in hair. Maybe. Yeah, that's true. It's a good point, right? Good point. Bald is beautiful. If you want to be bald. I don't want to be bald. Jada Pinkett Smith don't want to be bald, apparently. But she's worn a lot of short styles over the years. And she looks beautiful wearing it. I mean, beautiful woman. Clearly, it's Jada Pinkett Smith. She's beautiful. She's a beautiful woman. And, you know, she looks beautiful in any hairstyle. But again, if you don't want to be bald, you don't want to be bald. So I get that part. And I'm going to get out of here now. Appreciate you guys stopping through. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. We back here another time having some fun. All right? And I'll leave on this. Keep your hands to yourself. Later.